task number 6, cracking Etsy shadow hashes. This will be interesting. Let's download the task files. So task number 6 is part of the John the Reaper module, which is part of the complete beginner path on TryHackMe. And we have the Etsy shadow file in the Linux operating system. This stores password hashes. It also stores other information such as the date of last password change and password expiration information. It contains one entry per line for each user or user account of the system. So in other words, in the Etsy shadow file on the Linux system, this file is where the password of users are stored. They are stored in one line row basically. This file is usually only accessible by the root user. So in order to get your hands on the hashes, you must have sufficient privileges. But if you do, there is a chance that you will be able to crack some of the hashes. Unshadowing. John can be very particular about the formats it needs data in to be able to work with. For this reason, in order to crack the Etsy shadow passwords, you must combine it with the Etsy password file in order for John to understand the data it's being given. To do this, we use a tool built into the John suite called unshadow. The basic syntax of unshadow is as follows. We use the unshadow keyword and then we specify the path to the password file and then the path to the shadow file. Unshadow invokes the unshadow tool. Path to the password is basically the file that contains the copy of the Etsy password file you've taken from the target machine. And then shadow is basically that contains a file that contains a copy of the Etsy shadow file. For example, we have unshadow and then here we have the shadow file, which we copy the content inside this file, unshadow.txt. Note on the files. When using unshadow, you can either use the entire Etsy password or Etsy shadow file if you have them available, or you can use the relevant line from each. For example, line 1, local password, contains the Etsy password line for the root user. Here is the example when you open the password file. This is the example of how you will see the root user. File number 2, local shadow, contains the Etsy shadow line for the root user. So this is the first line, let's say, for the root user inside the password file. This is the first line of the root user inside the shadow file. Cracking. We're then able to feed the output from unshadow in our example use case called unshadow.txt directly into John. We should not need to specify a mode here, as we have made the input specifically for John. However, in this case, we will need to specify the format as we have done previously using -- format equals SHA-51 to crypt. And here is the full example. We have the John -- word list, the same command that we use so far, with rocku.txt word list, and then for the format, what is specified up here. And here is the text file that we created, which is a copy from the password, local password, and local shadow file. Practical. Now see if you can follow the process to crack the password hash of the root user that is provided in the Etsy hash.txt file. Good luck. Answer the question below, basically. What is the root password? Let's see, what do we have in here? This is everything I managed to recover from the target machine before my computer crashed. See if you can crack the hash so we can at least salvage a password to try and get back in. Awesome, it's exactly what we need. We have the first line, and this is the first line from the password file and for the root user, and this is the first line from the shadow file for the root user. Now let's see if we can unshadow, and then actually, you know what, let's create first First, we say echo, boom. This one, we say password.txt. Cool, echo, copy this, and we paste it over here. And for this one, we say shadow.txt. Cool. We clear the screen. And now we say unshadow. And here we say password shadow, which will go inside unshadow.txt. Cool. Now we say this command. Let's copy this command. Paste it again here. And let's check. It's actually unshadow. Let's delete this and let me use my... Cool, let's see what happens. All right, no password hash is loaded. Okay, let's list. Shadow. Okay. We'll say cat shadow. And now I will use this one again. Let me cat unshadow. Oh, okay, cool. And now let's reuse this. 1, 2, 3, 4. The most common, one of the most common passwords ever used, right? So the first step, from the Etsy password file, know this first line of the root. It will be very easy because we know by now it will be only in one line, this information. For the root inside the Etsy shadow file, know the password. Get all of this. Create 2 copies of them, like how we have here. A copy for the password file, a copy for the shadow file. Then place both of them inside unshadow, and then use this command in order to reveal the root password. And then try it. Awesome.